Hi, you finished your rough draft and now it's time to revise. So let's talk about revision. The first thing I want to discuss is the difference between revision and editing. Most students, when they think about revising their papers, are actually thinking about editing, doing things like adding the commas, fixing capital letters and lowercase letters, making sure everything's spelled correctly. But that is editing. It's just making your paper look better. It's making your paper follow the rules of writing. When I talk about revision, I'm talking about making it sound better, making it communicate the ideas that you had in your heads when you started in a way that an audience can understand. That means developing ideas, expanding your analysis, changing worn out words or words that don't really show what you're meaning to vivid words. Sometimes it means adjusting the order of paragraphs, adding, um, adding transition phrases. Really thinking about the effect of your words on an audience. It's that showing, not just telling, balancing jello and fruit, repeating yourself and your main ideas when necessary. That's revision. And that's what we want to focus on as we move forward. Save the editing for right at the end. Now, how do you get started? Well, you have my comments and you have comments from your peers. Take notes. What stands out to you? Summarize what we all said. Think about the parts that make the most sense to you, that you know you need to do. And if there are other parts, ask questions about them. Send those questions to me. You can talk about them in the reflection on revision, or you can email me. Another thing you can do is make an appointment to see me when I have office hours on Mondays, or you can go to see a tutor at the Writing Center. By the way, you get extra credit for visiting the Writing Center, and so that will automatically improve your grade. Once you've taken those notes, you have a plan that's unique for you and unique for your paper and the way you started it. I do want to mention some things that are common that I see a lot in student papers that aren't necessarily unique to you and which I might not have commented on as I put comments on your paper. Or maybe you didn't even turn in a rough draft and you know you need to revise and you're wondering, what do I do since I don't have those comments? One of the first things you should do as you're revising is take a look at your title. You should have an original title that indicates your topic and the direction of your essay. By the way, what I found in Standing Rock essay is not an original title. Essay number 1 is also not original. And none of those really tell your readers the direction of your essay. Next part of revision is making sure you have all the most important parts of your essay. Where's your introduction? And I would say, where's your thesis? That needs to be really, really clear. Do you have at least 3 body paragraphs? How long are they? And do you have a conclusion? Another part that's not on this PowerPoint is, where are you using rhetorical strategies in your paper? Remember that you're supposed to emulate or copy or mimic or use as a pattern 2 rhetorical strategies from the essay you're responding to. Where are those? I'm going to ask you to highlight those in your final essay and tell me where they are. Now take a look at the introduction. You should have a hook, something that engages your reader. That might be a question that guides the reader into your topic. It might be a shocking fact or statement, or a general statement that introduces what others are thinking about your topic. Your introduction should also include quick background information about the text that you're responding to. This is your they say. You need to introduce that text thoroughly. You need the author's full name and credibility. You need the title of the text, where it was published, when it was published, and you need a short summary that introduces what the author is discussing, what the author learns, how the author learns it. This is the conversation that you are joining into. For example, Christoph learns that Hispanics have a strong work ethic, that they have a strong faith community, that they're concerned about family, and they care about their communities. That's a they say. You choose the conversation that you're joining. You also need an I say, 1 to 2 sentences that indicate how you are going to respond, that are you joining that conversation. It's like Christoph is saying, Hispanic communities are very family oriented, and you saying, I'm Mexican, and I can say, yes, we're family oriented. Or I'm not part of the Hispanic community, but I have noticed that they have a strong family orientation. Either way, it's here's what the author says, here's what I say that's connected to that. And you have to show that connection. You should also have a thesis that answers your essential question about what you learned and how you learned it. It's joining the author's conversation that you introduced in the introduction. The rest of your paragraph is about building that thesis, about helping your readers understand how you came to that thesis or why you're making that claim. You should be introducing concepts or examples from the text you're responding to, from the article, and you should be responding to those concepts or examples with your own stories and maybe some statistics if you decided to look those up. You are not required to do any research, but I know some of you are planning on doing that. You're responding to this and you're showing how these two ideas, the they say and the I say, are linked together and how they build that thesis, how they support the claim that you made in your introduction. Make sure your body paragraphs are showing and not just telling, that you have your own examples that illustrate the ideas. And do not assume your readers will figure out what you're talking about if you haven't shown them. You can say, I agree with Christoph's ideas, but if you haven't said which ideas you're talking about, your readers are just trying to read your mind and they won't be successful. How should you represent what they say? Well, make sure it's accurate. Make sure you understand those texts. A few of the essays I've read are misrepresenting their ideas. And it's important that you don't do that. It's important that you understand what they're saying so that when you have a they say, it really is what they say. Are you quoting them and you need to? Are you framing each quotation successfully, creating relevant context, introducing the quote, explaining it, and showing why it matters? Are you using common signal phrases like states, mentions, or believes? Are there some other verbs you could substitute? Do you remind the readers of the author's main point and tie it to your main point as you go along? You really want to show that what they say is connected to what you say. By the way, some of you have asked how much they say you need in the body of your essay. Well, definitely you need less they say than I say, because this is not a summary essay. But you do need enough to show what they say is connected to what you say. You need to show this as part of a conversation. And then you need to examine your conclusion. Is it emphasizing your thesis? Are you tying your ideas together if you need that? Describe why what you learned matters. And before I move on, I want to talk about some editing tips. It's not that editing or the rules of writing or the commas or the punctuation or the capital letters don't matter. It's just that they're not the most important thing. So make sure you run a spell check or a grammar check. Make sure it won't catch everything, but it can help you. Make sure you have time to walk away from your essay and then come back to it so you can read it with fresh eyes. Sometimes reading from the bottom of the page up to the top will help you catch errors that you might not have noticed. Look for the error types I marked on your reading responses. Capitalization errors, comma splices and fused sentences, using commas after introductory clauses, subject-verb agreement, those kinds of things. Incidentally, the tutors at the Writing Center will help you with those things as well if you want to go in. Make sure you're paying attention to MLA formatting. By the way, the editing and the MLA formatting, each of those are worth 10% of your final grade. You need MLA, you need 1-inch margins, Times New Roman 12-point font, no extra spaces anywhere. You want to insert the page number with your last name in the upper right-hand corner. You want a 4-line heading on the first page only, and you want to center your original title, period. I don't know why I put a question mark there in the subtitles, but it did. That's all I've got. Send me your questions when you have comments on your paper. Visit the Writing Center and revise.